I've been animating Brooklyn Guy stories since 2018, and after telling dozens and dozens of stories for over 7 years now, some of those stories are bound to be made up by Brooklyn Guy or completely faked. And one of the biggest running gags in SML is how he confuses his own life events with movies he's seen on TV.
Yeah, none of that actually happened to me. Those were all movies I saw recently.
And in this video, we're gonna dissect some of his stories and see how many times he confused his own life with Disney's Pixar movies. Let's jump in. The first Pixar reference that we're going to be taking a look at comes from SML movie Jeffy's Jellyfish, where after Marvin gets the jellyfish put on his face by Jeffy, he calls in Dr. Brooklyn Guy to save the day.
Somebody call a doctor? Ah! Oh my god, Jesus, what happened to your face?
Oh, my son put a jellyfish on my face and it stung me!
Ouch, that sucks.
This leads to Brooklyn Guy telling a story about the time he himself got stung by a jellyfish, where a group of them pulled up in a boxed Chevy to sting him while he's in the ocean.
And one of them gave me a wet willy sting right in the ear. That hurt like hell. So then I get stung up, and it's just a whole big problem.
Now this isn't where the Pixar reference comes into play, because after telling the story, he decides to tell Marvin a second jellyfish story. And well, take a look.
Me and my wife are scuba diving off the coast of Australia, right? And then we come up on this big, dark, scary trench. And my wife wants to go through the trench, but I want to go over the trench because it's a scary trench. I'm saying there has to be monsters in there. So we decide to go over the trench, and we see this cute little jellyfish. And my wife names it Squishy, and she starts touching it. And I'm like, don't touch it, it's a jellyfish. And then, next thing we know, there's all these jellyfish all around us. And then we're like surrounded by jellyfish. We're in like a goddamn forest of jellyfish. And I'm like, oh no, what are we gonna do? We're gonna get stung to death by all these jellyfish. But then we realize we can get through the jellyfish by bouncing on top of them. So then we start having like a jellyfish race to see who can get through the jellyfish forest the fastest. And I win, obviously. And then I look back and I see my wife and she's all tangled up in jellyfish tentacles getting stung. So I'm like, oh god, I gotta go back and get her. So I go back and I'm getting stung by all the jellyfish and I get stung so much I black out. And when I wake up, I'm on the back of a sea turtle. And he calls me Jelly Man because I took on the jellies. And he's like, you were like, whoa. And I was like, whoa.
So there you have it. Brooklyn Guy completely got his life confused with the Pixar movie Finding Nemo.
Oh, wait, this is Finding Nemo. This didn't happen to me. This happened in Finding Nemo.
Now on the topic of Finding Nemo, it's also referenced in our next video, SML movie Junior's Sick Date, where Junior calls in Brooklyn Guy to get him diagnosed.
Hey there, you call a doctor? Oh, you don't look so good.
I'm really sick, doctor.
I was sick one time.
And the sick story in question? Well, take a look.
When I was little, I was in school with this kid that had like a really little arm. Like one arm was like way smaller than the other one. So we all used to make fun of him, you know, because he kind of looked like a freak. Anyway, his dad was really protective because his whole family died in an accident when the kid was little. So one time on a school field trip, we all dared the kid to go touch this really sketchy looking van. And the kid actually did it. But then he got kidnapped by the guy in the van who like turned out to be a dentist. So the dad, being all protective, decided to track the kid down and find him. So he teamed up with this girl that had memory problems. Like she couldn't remember anything. All she could remember is the address of the dentist's office. So then they met some sharks that didn't eat fish, and I don't really remember what they did. But then a bomb went off, and then they met a sea turtle, and he was very nice. And he gave them a ride to Australia.
So once again, Brooklyn Guy completely mistakes his life events with Finding Nemo. But what makes this funnier is how the story he told had absolutely nothing to do with being sick, which he brings up moments after telling the story.
This is the plot of Finding Nemo. I didn't live that. See, sometimes I get my memories confused with movies that I saw. Huh. I did throw up one time. I guess that's the story.
Think we're done? No, because there is a second Pixar reference towards the end of the video, where after Junior gets turned into a bee, he calls in Brooklyn Guy to get him fixed.
You call a doctor? Oh, you are a big old bee. That is a bee.
You turned me into a bee!
Well, I didn't mean to.
And for some reason, once again, this reminds Brooklyn Guy to tell a story, and here it is.
I had a friend that was really bad at cooking, but I was good at cooking, so I would get on top of his head and pull his hair to make him cook good, and we cooked a plate of ratatouille that was so good, it made this really harsh food critic have a flashback to his childhood and think it was okay to have rats in a restaurant.
Not only did he take the plot from Finding Nemo, but he also got his life confused with the movie Ratatouille.
Wait, that's Ratatouille. Man, that didn't happen either. Don't listen to me.
Okay, I saved the best video for last, because in this next video, Brooklyn Guy tells not one, not two, not three, but 5 stories that are completely ripped off from Pixar movies. And this video being SML movie Junior's Black Eye, where after Junior gets not one, but 2 black eyes from Cody, he decides to call an Officer Guy to snitch on him.
So what do I do?
Well, there's really nothing you can do, kid. Well, this all reminds me of the time I got 2 black eyes.
You did?
Oh, yeah.
And what story does he tell that involves him getting a black eye? Let's find out.
So this one time I was an ant, and we were collecting food for the colony because we were afraid of these grasshoppers, and we were giving them our food so they didn't eat us. So we were collecting all the food on this big leaf, and I had like this contraption on my back, and I accidentally dropped it and knocked over a rock, and then all the food went over this cliff. And then the grasshoppers got there, and boy were they mad, because they were like, "Where's our food?" And we were like, "Well, we had it, but it's gone now." So then they gave us another day to get their food, and then they got eaten by a bird. And hold on.
Okay. We've all done this before. He slipped up and got his life confused with Pixar's A Bug's Life. But have no fear, because now he will tell the real story. Take a look.
Me and my wife, right, we were old, and we were living in our dream home, and it was beautiful, but then she died, and it was very, very sad, and I wanted to see this waterfall for some reason, so I tied a bunch of balloons to the roof of my house, because I wanted to bring my house with me, and then there was this Boy Scout in the house, and then there was a talking dog. Wait, no, damn it!
Okay, once again he completely slipped up and thought he was the old dude from Up. But that's okay, Broken Guy, because the 3rd time's the charm, right?
I was a little kid, and I was laying in bed, and I was afraid of the dark, right? And then all of a sudden my closet opens, and this big fuzzy monster named Sully comes out, and I call him Kitty, because I'm just a little kid and I think he's a kitty. And then him and his friend Mike Wazowski help hide me on the scare floor from this creepy salamander guy named Randall, because he did not like me. He was trying to suck my screams out, because, screams is what powered their world, and wait...
Monsters, Inc.? Broken Guy, you thought you lived in Monsters, Inc.?
So I was in college, and I was trying to become the top scare... This is Monsters, Inc. University. I'm sorry.
Monsters, Inc. University? Broken Guy, you're not even trying anymore. The 5th story has to be the real Black Eye story, please.
So I was a race car driver, right? And I came into a 3-way tie with these 2 other racers, and then we decided that we're gonna have a tiebreaker race in California. So then on the way there, my truck falls asleep. And then I wake up in the middle of the desert, and then I meet Larry the cable guy as a tow truck. No, this is Cars.
Oh dear. We got A Bug's Life, Up, Monsters Inc., Monsters Inc. University, and Cars all referenced in the same video, making this the Hail Mary for Pixar movie references in Brooklyn Guy stories.
So how do I get over these 2 black eyes?
Pull the fire alarm?
My house doesn't have a fire alarm.
Well, that's all I got.
So there you have it. If you enjoyed the video, leave a thumbs up and let me know down below if you want to know any more movie references that Brooklyn Guy has made in his stories throughout the years. Thank you all for watching again, and I will see you all in the next animation. Peace out.